Hello, I'm Don Ward, Chief Executive of CIB, and welcome to another episode of CIB in Conversation. Conseil International du Bâtiment, forgive the poor French, or CIB, is the global network for collaboration in research and innovation in the built environment. And a warm welcome to everyone joining us, whether by video or podcast. This series is all about meeting personalities behind the leaders in the world of built environment research and innovation. And our guest today is Buddhini Ginigaddara. My apologies for that pronunciation straight away, Buddhini. From Western Sydney University. She's a PhD student and president of the CIB Student Chapter at Western Sydney there, which is one of the most active and responsive chapters in the CIB global network. So in this edition of CIB in Conversation, we're talking to someone at the start of their research career about their motivations, challenges and ambitions, and we'll also talk about CIB student chapters. And I hope out of the conversation will come a number of tips and ideas which will benefit other people starting out in academia or in their early career as a researcher. So Buddhini, hello.
Hello, Don. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And a very good morning to you there in Sydney.
Thank you. I think it's evening time for you. Anyways, thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure. And as I've said, Western Sydney University is one of the most active and dynamic of all our student chapters. So it's fantastic to be able to talk to the president of that chapter. Before we get to that, though, let's give you a chance to introduce yourself and please say a little bit more about your role and involvement at Western Sydney University.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. So I'm the president of the CIB Student Chapter at the Western Sydney University, Australia. So our student chapter is not that mature. We are just 2 years old. We initiated in 2019. And I have my team with me, my executive committee, Tilini, Joe, Kasun, Amar, and Daniel, with the supervision of our staff advisors, Professor Srinath Pereira and Dr. Robert. So we are doing well at down under here in Australia. And apart from that, I'm a PhD student, as I said. So I'm currently at the final stages of my research, a little bit more than 3 years. So I'm finalizing my research, reviewing process is going on, writing, reviewing. So that is happening. And my research is about offsite construction skills prediction. So that's how it is. That's how the things are with me these days.
Fantastic. And what's the, which department are you in at Western Sydney?
It's School of Engineering, Design and Built Environment.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And it's the Centre for Smart Modern Construction, have I remembered that?
Of course, yes. I'm affiliated to the Centre for Smart Modern Construction. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. So along with the CIB Student Chapter, I'm a PhD student at the C4SMC, we call it smaller version, yes.
Cool, nice one. Well, we'll talk a bit more about your PhD in a few minutes, if we may. But let's talk about your background. I mean, you're from Sri Lanka originally, is that right?
Yes, I'm from Sri Lanka. So I got my bachelor's degree in quantity surveying from the University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka. That was in 2017. I graduated in 2017. So after finishing the degree, even when I was at the final years of my degree, I was thinking that I always wanted to go to the industry and work because I wanted to embrace the actual world of construction. Whatever we learned in the university for 4 years' time, I wanted to see apply that real knowledge to real projects. So that thing was there in mind. So soon after graduation, I joined a construction company in Sri Lanka as a graduate quantity surveyor. And while doing that, there's something in my mind always that I want to keep a balance between academia and industry. So I was doing visiting lectures to some undergraduate students affiliated to some other universities in the country. So in that way, I was able to keep those knowledge going, because when you go to work in a company, you'll be stuck at one place. If you are doing pre-construction, you'll be doing only that. If you're doing post-construction, you'll be doing that. So that way I was keeping some balance between those two. So while doing that, I was trying to get my research published as well from my dissertation. So I was working closely with my undergraduate research supervisor, Dr. Tamaja Ramachandra. And little less than 1 year's time after graduation, I came across this advertisement about the scholarship project at Centre for Smart Modern Construction. Right. Applied. Yeah. Long story short, I'm here. That's how it all went.
Fantastic. And did you find the construction company was supportive of your interest in continuing to give guest lectures and in your interest in developing yourself alongside obviously being out there in the field?
Of course, yes. I can still remember my interview. Even there, I was saying like, I will work at your organization for 5 days, the full-time work,
Yes.
but I need my weekends. If possible, I need my weekends to continue that academic part, because there's a passion in doing that, working with students. So they were happy with that. So I was lucky in that way to do both,
Yeah.
During that time, yes.
Well, at CIB, we welcome and we love to give profile to companies who support academia and research. So just give us a quick name check. What was the name of that company?
That is Access Engineering PLC. That is one of the only, that is the only public limited construction company in Sri Lanka. So very, very supportive, I must say, because yeah.
So well done, Access Engineering, because it's obvious they've obviously helped to grow and germinate your enthusiasm for research and innovation in our sector. So I hope they're pleased.
Yes, because I want to. Sorry. I want to mention one thing here, because my supervisor was Miss Buddhini. She helped me because as she knew that I can do that academic part, I helped with their training programs, some of the training programs at the company. So that was how the blend was taken from academic and industry over there.
What a smart balance. That's very clever on your part and her part and the company's part. So that's a good tip for anybody looking to make the case to their company, I think, how to give the company something back for their support for your time. So there you are. So you were lucky enough to see a scholarship award to Western Sydney University. I mean, did it take you long to make the decision? It's quite a big move to go halfway around the world to take up a PhD in a new country with all the challenges that brings.
Good question, definitely. It was like, it was given in a platter because it was a full scholarship. If I did not take that opportunity, I will regret it later on. So it was a quick decision. Within 2 months' time, I changed the countries. I came to a new place, as you said. So it was like I had a debate for a few days' time to leave everything and come back, because the entire plans for the sooner future would have changed. But still, I lived. I took the opportunity. I grabbed the opportunity and came here. Yes.
A big move. So, looking back, do you have any tips or advice for someone who would be in the same position? If you were advising a young Buddhini thinking about coming to Western Sydney or to Australia to study in this way, what would you say to such a young person?
Dream big. That's my only thing. Yeah. Dream big and start from there. Be ambitious and be confident. Whenever life throws something at you, grab it and do it in the best way possible. Because always I've been a very hard worker. Whenever I do something, I've heard this debate between work smart and work hard. But at some point in life, you are in a room full of very smart people. Then there's nothing else to do but work hard.
Yes.
So I've always been stick to the latter part, where working hard is my only option. Plus, be ambitious and be confident, because I think of what can be happened in the future as a seemingly impossible dream. Then try to achieve that one step a day. Especially these days, we never know what will happen the next few days, next few weeks' time. So do whatever you do up to the highest potential, and in summary, work hard with confidence. Yes.
Very good advice. I suspect a lot of people would do well to heed that. Does anything stick out from your first year in a new country, in a new university? You know, what was your first week like?
Lonely.
Lonely, yeah. Well,
yes.
How did you deal with that? Because I guess that's an emotion that a lot of people would feel. You know, I mean, having taken such a big, brave step, what do you do about that?
Yeah, first few days were very hard, because that was my first time out of the country. But so technology always helps, as usual. I was contacting my loved ones in Sri Lanka at that time. And then there's a very nice community over here in the Center for Smart Modern Construction. They were really helpful to blend in with the new community, new friends, new colleagues I have. So it was a smooth, organic move from there to here.
And do you think the old hands at the university, or indeed the newer hands, some of the other PhD students, did they understand? Did they have empathy with the situation you found yourself in, and were they able to help you as well?
Of course, because everyone were mostly in the same boat. They were also having the same situation, because with me there was a few other researchers who joined. So we were all in the same mindset. Okay, we left the country and came here, now settling in. So we were exploring some places in Australia, especially the closer by Sydney areas. We were going to places. The first few months was like that, along with the, that helped, yes.
Excellent. So let's come on to talk about your area of research then. So I think you mentioned you're 3 years into the PhD. What's the research question or the title of your thesis that you're seeking to finalize?
My research is about developing a skill profile prediction model for typologies of offsite construction. So it's basically about how the skills will vary when most of the construction will be offsite constructed, prefabricated, if most people have heard that term. So it's a nice journey, because so far I have come across so many new findings, as well as confirming whatever there has been in the literature. So in terms of skill prediction, I have noticed that we cannot use the same construction skills in offsite construction manufacturing factories. That is different to on-site traditional construction from foundation to the top level. But when it comes to offsite construction, some of them has to be designed to suit a manufacturing assembly line. And then most of the building parts are manufactured, they are not constructed. Plus then there's the transportation part. And then whatever happening at the site is not construction, that is assembly. So I'm looking at how what are the skills that are changing, what are the skills that are eliminating from the construction industry, what are the new skills that are coming up, and then some skills we can easily substitute from other industries, plus how the quantities are varying. That is the prediction part of my research. So yes.
and have you got to the stage yet where you're starting to think about the so what, the implications of that, what that means for skills development in the sector, or what that means for the design and construction process, for example?
Yes, in terms of implications, I feel that when the construction is moving towards from on-site to off-site, that skill development must happen with the initiation from universities or vocational training institutes, and with the government help. So that is the major implication that I'm saying, that definitely technology is evolving and construction is moving. Most parts of construction is moving from on-site to off-site. So to cater to that, there are the skills. It is not makeshift construction skills as it is to off-site construction. That's not the case. It is vastly different. So how to cater to that? We have to start thinking about changing our courses, allocate some details to match with the offsite construction requirements. Yes.
And what's your opinion of how rapid this change might happen? I mean, where are we in the maturity of offsite construction, or how much of Australia's construction, for example, is moving that way already?
Yeah, that's a good question. Apparently that varies based on the country, of course, because I know UK have been there, done that for so long. But when it comes to Australia, they are very at the initial immature or infant stage. So the typology I was talking, we have identified a validated offsite construction typology, where we have components, panels, pods, modules, and complete buildings. So depending on the type, your maturity level will vary, because the components, we know in any construction projects, components are already so much used. But compare that with the modular building, modules, that is very less. From literature, I've found that it is around 3%, but it is really difficult to get that percentage out of by differentiating from manufacturing and construction. Getting that percentage, what is offsite construction, that is also a difficult task, getting the stats right. So in terms of Australia, yes, there's a long way to go.
and I mean, understanding that difference, if that's part of what you've been looking at, is it? How do you decide what that percentage might be? And I mean, it feels like a little bit of a chicken and egg in the sense that if universities and college needs to change how they develop the skill set, they're not going to do that until there's the demand, and the demand won't be there until the industry starts to need to deliver offsite. So how do you think that challenge gets, or that catch-22 gets addressed?
Yeah, demand has to come when the clients get to know the benefits of offsite construction. Because if the clients do not need that, if they are not aware of what are the benefits, if will this make my project very quickly, the time will be saved, productivity will be improved. So that needs to happen. At the same time, it's kind of costly to the initial fixed cost of starting offsite construction manufacturing facility is higher compared to general contract work. So there should be government incentives to make that, to promote that part. So as usual, the connecting part, I'm always thinking that we have always been talking about industry academic collaboration, but the middle point who connects that is the government part. If the policies are mandating at least some parts of offsite construction, just like UK mandated BIM, there can be policies that helps the industry evolvement to accommodate these technological advancements. So I'm thinking that missing point is the government policies. Government policies
and government as a client, so as a procurer, as the customer for large parts of the sector. Yes, I see. And so what you describe is what some researchers call the triple helix of academia, industry, and government working in collaboration. Which is a common theme that's come up in other conversations in this series, and of course in other work of CIB. Buddhini, as we talk, it's late August 2021, so the sector, well, the world has been in the grips of the global pandemic for best part of 18 months now. Have you thought about the impact of the pandemic on your area of study and what that means for offsite construction, or whether that's in the short term, or whether you think there'll be longer lasting effects, whether those are positive or negative?
I think there will be longer lasting effects because this is here to stay at least 5 years time. I don't know. That's just my thinking. But I think it's not going to go away in few months time. So in terms of that, basically our building designs, how we design buildings may need to be changed to accommodate the social distancing and all those parts, especially when I think of all these multi-story buildings in CBDs or in cities where office complexes are there. What is happening to those buildings at the moment? Most people are working from home, and we never know when it will be implemented at any time, because in Sydney, we just came into, not just, by June, we came into the second lockdown. We were happily there for few months, nice few months, then again back at home. Yes. So our design, building design, how to accommodate all those will have to be changed accordingly. And the positive thing, as you asked, is these virtual connections. That was there because globalization has been there for 5 years, 5 decades or so. But now we are using it up to the highest potential possible. So all the events will be hybrid in the coming years because there will be some percentage of people who think, okay, I need a hybrid opportunity. So I think that's a positive part, being more connected. Yes.
And I mean, we'll come on to talk about the chapter in a minute, but I know you've led the way in holding a number of webinars and online events. Have you seen hybrid events done well, you know, where people are able to dial in from home or from their office, but also you've got a face-to-face presence, you've got an audience physically, you know, at a venue? Because if this is to be the future, I think we need to be better at doing it. I don't know how you feel about this.
Yes, our last event was a hybrid event, CIB Student Chapter event, because most of our staff were still coming into the working from working from home to the university structure. So we had some students joining us physically. I think it went well. It was it was not a very big event where we had around 40 people joining. Yep. So 10 or so people were joining from their home and even from overseas. Again, the Zoom platform was used. Depending on the technology you have and the facilities you have, if especially the rooms we use, the lecture theaters we use accommodate these kind of hybrid facilities, yes, we can definitely go ahead and do that. Yes.
I think there's increasing demand for this. I think there's little doubt that people will travel less for whatever reason, whether it's budgets, whether it's government restrictions on requirements for quarantine, whether it's simply the best use of people's time, you know, to get an optimum balance. But you know, too many webinars. We've been discussing this quite a bit. Not enough interaction with people, and you know, good though some of these platforms are for networking functionality, nothing beats actually physically having a coffee with somebody, does it? Or bumping into someone random and just, you know, who knows where that conversation will take you. I know plenty of CIB members and others who are desperate to get back to occasional face-to-face conferences and let's get a bit more human interaction, you know, and I hope you'll be able to join us actually at one of the big conferences next year, which of course is CIB's World Building Congress in Melbourne. So not too far for you to travel down the coast to Melbourne there in late June. Let's come on to talk about CIB then, and in particular the student chapter. So when did you set up the student chapter for the first time?
Yeah, that was 2019, just after our last conference in Hong Kong. At Polio University, we got the inauguration happened just after that, because all our center researchers were there in Hong Kong, and afterwards, that was June. We came back by August 1st. We initiated the center CIB Student Chapter.
So that was quick. You struck while the iron was hot. Well, I wonder if there's a lesson there for us to make sure that that's one of the messages that people take away from the World Building Congress next year. That it's a great time, the timing is then perfect to emulate what you did. And what is the student chapter? You know, and what do you aim to do?
We aim to have a platform for the researchers, HDR researchers, and even masters, and some of our events incorporate undergraduate students as well. We aim to give them a platform to collaborate and work together and get to know new things happening in the industry in terms of research as well as industry practices. So that is the main aim, to have a research culture and have a student group to have a say, to hear what they say and get to know what their needs and cater to their needs in terms of what the students need, because most of the universities have so many facilities given to research students, but are they catered to the built environment related students, construction management related students? That's a big question. So having this kind of a student chapter just for the cohort of built environment students, so that helps, because we know we are in the same mindset. Our problems are slightly different to some others, maybe social science or medical research students. So we can accommodate that kind of issues and resolve them and get to know what is happening in the industry and the research in the world.
That's very interesting. I haven't heard any, people talk about that dimension of what a chapter can do. So you can be a sounding board or for the rest of the university, or a voice, if you like, for built environment students, and you found yourself playing that role, have you?
Of course. So most of our events, almost all, are catering to that that set of people.
Yes, yes. And how often are you holding events, and what sort of subjects, or what sort of format have they taken?
From the first year onwards, we were having so many, because we were just going to lockdowns and online environment. They were mostly webinars, because there was not much opportunities to collaborate as such, because everyone was struggling at their home. So we were holding fantastic webinars, online live events. And then as we were moving back to the normal lifestyle, we started a research competition. So that was just to our research students at that time. It was Built Environment School. So they were asked to write their research in, if I can't remember right, it was 300 words or so, and to write them in layman terms, not just an abstract, which is really easy for any research students. So we had we had that competition, and we had our winners chosen. And then afterwards, we had a nice session where that hybrid event I was talking, that was about their experience during the pandemic. How did they cope up? So we had several themes: academic, social life, and then research life, and the financial terms, what happened. So that was some reminiscence, looking back what happened and what are the things to take home from anyone else. Likewise, our events vary in that way. And these days we are doing so much research thanks to CIB funding. So we are working on research.
Well, yes. Why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners about that research project then? So you won that grant. 3 months ago, isn't it?
Yes.
So I know there was more than just Western Sydney involved. So tell us how you put the bid together, and then what it is that you hope to achieve.
Yes, we collaborated with the RMIT University. There's Hong Kong University. There are several universities, and Massey University. So we have several universities, CIB Student Chapters coming together. And that is about how HDR training given at the universities help the employability of PhD students. So that's a new way of thinking, because of course we learn for 4 years time, that getting the analytical part polished through our PhD. But when you go to the work life again as an academic or as an industry person,
yes,
do you have the necessary skills, necessary training given from the 3 years, 4 years time? So we are just now, currently we are getting the ethics approval. So soon after we'll start the interview process to collect data. Then we'll come to know what are the good things as well as what are the things to be improved.
Okay, yes. and so your main methodology is interviewing. What sort of people are you going to talk to?
Yes, there were, if I can recall right, yes, there were 6 categories or 5 categories of people, starting from PhD students, PhD supervisors, and then people who are in the industry who are employing PhD students. So they know whether the PhD students they have already recruited, got the necessary talent. And then there were academic people who have recruited PhD students for postdoc or any research projects. So likewise, we are going to interview a hefty lot of people. Yes. And that is only from one university, and we are getting details from several other universities.
Oh, how interesting. It's a nice way to exploit the strengths of CIB by involving universities from different parts of the world. So truly demonstrating the value of the global research network. It sounds like you might have given yourself quite a large task to accomplish there. What's your time scale? Might we hear about it at the World Building Congress next year?
Yes, we are supposed to finish data collection by this year, and finish all the interview transcripts, preparation, all those by February, early February. Then we'll be starting the analysis part to finish everything by June, just before the conference, to present our findings there.
Well, you're all PhD students, so you know fine well that you can come under terrific time pressure. So how are you going to adjust to such a short-term project with a clear deliverable of a date in what did you say, April, May time? You know, what do you see as the challenge, or how are you going to address the delivery of that project to make sure you don't fall behind?
Yeah, I think I have done so much qualitative work, case studies. which has a lot of interviews happening. And that was only one person when I was doing my PhD. But in our research committee, CIB Student Chapter Committee, Executive Committee, we have 5 or so people, PhD students. So if each one of us share the interviews and do that, then it will be a very less load on one person and we can do a lot together. That's how I think we are going to tackle that.
It's truly a collaborative effort that the management of that, especially across, I think you mentioned at least 3 continents there, will be a good learning experience for you all, as well as the actual research project. But for sure, I'm sure everybody looks forward to hearing what you learn. It's a very important area of work to help people with that transition into early career research. So I wish you all the very best with that project. We were very pleased that our judges chose to award you the bulk of the grant that was available in the competition this year. So yeah, good luck.
Thank you for that.
Just sort of a penultimate question really then. We're talking there about how do we equip, how do we skill early career researchers into the sector. It's you know, to become an early career researcher, you probably got to have come into the industry in some way. How would you sell the industry to, or how would you sell the value of research and innovation and a career in research to someone who perhaps is still at school and thinking about their first degree choice? How should we look to recruit the best talent into our sector, that we can then make sure that the quality of researchers is as good as we would like it to be?
Yeah, in the point of a person who is still studying, or a recruiter?
Yeah, perhaps someone who hasn't made up their mind, you know, who knows they're talented but doesn't quite know whether construction's for them, or perhaps they've seen the image of construction and they don't really think that it's a modern dynamic industry for them. How would you promote it to young people to encourage them to see our sector as a career?
Yes, I will start with the point that in any country, construction is one of the major industries where you are definitely sure it will not fall.
Yes.
Yes. We have seen,
yes,
we have seen many industries that came so low, to take airline industries, tourism industries. We never thought that it will happen to those kind of industries, but construction is still ongoing. That is one major point for any person still at school to decide whether I need to go to construction or not. Once you decide on the industry, then there are so many paths to go. Being a girl from a small island in Sri Lanka, I came to this industry as a quantity surveyor. That's only one tiny part. There are so many other things that you can explore and do. Make it architecture designing, or make it civil engineering and other engineering parts. And then people who like me, who are like to kind of number crunch, then you have cost consulting, economic side of that. Likewise, there are so many things. Plus, if you want to become an entrepreneur and come up with your own small construction organization, that is also there. Become a builder, become a developer, and become a project manager. So there are so many areas to explore, and definitely you will not get out of business or not lose a job like that, because this industry is helping the economy of any country.
Yes.
You name it, it is stable. So that is one way to look at it.
That's you make some terrific points, and I would be persuaded anyway. You used a lovely phrase in there, as a girl from a small island. And do you have any particular thoughts about whether you know how you'd sell it to young women?
Yes, because mostly people see construction as an industry where women are not suitable for, because you see all the buildings happening, the nasty construction sites, and all the site workers are there. But during my 4 months training, industrial training, I was working at one of the sites that was a 23-story building, office complex. So I was, as the quantity surveyor, trainee quantity surveyor, I was the only girl in the entire site, not only the office, but in the entire site.
Yes.
But they were helpful. I was surrounded by so many civil engineers, and they were so much helpful. Once you go there, you get to know what are the benefits you have there. Plus, as it is an industry where people say that the women involvement is less, you have place to shine. So do come. That's something to say. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And I mean, I think that gives us the opportunity to finish with that. You know, that's a message to young people and to young women in the sector. Let's finish with a message to politicians and policymakers. So, in your area of offsite construction or skills and offsite construction, what would you say is the top opportunity or challenge that politicians and policymakers should be looking at in our sector?
I think they need to take research seriously, because research is showing that getting from on-site to off-site is real, and that is something required in the industry. So if the policymakers or politicians understand the research properly and translate what we are saying in research to actual industrial practice through standards, through policies, or even laws, then that will be the best way to accommodate off-site construction in a better way.
So to better understand what the different standards and the different policies that are needed to enable off-site to thrive. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's extremely clear. Buddhini, thank you very much. Do you have any parting words for our audience before we finish?
Stay safe. That's the only thing I think of these days. Yes. Stay safe and do whatever you do in the best way possible.
Well, thank you very much. Your enthusiasm does you great credit. Thank you again for joining us today. I really enjoyed listening to you speak about your career and the work of the student chapter. The student chapters are a real jewel in the crown of CIB's global research network, and I really look forward to your research project delivering, you know, what I'm sure will be a terrific piece of evidence for the value of that network and of those student chapters. And your personal leadership of the Western Sydney University Student Chapter, it is a great credit to you, but also has made a big difference to how the chapter has developed. And you're one of the most dynamic chapters, certainly that we see in the management and the leadership of CIB as a whole. And I think our audience will have seen from the way that you communicate that you have a passion and an enjoyment about your work, which I'm sure is infectious when it comes to working with your various teams. So you've had a big part to play in the success of the student chapter so far. I hope it goes from strength to strength. I'm sure it will. And a big thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan. Thank you.
So to our audience, for more information on this event, on Buddhini's work, or any of our student chapters for that matter, or for details of any of the work of the CIB, please see the website. It's pretty easy to find stuff on there, so just search for whatever you need. That's it for this edition of CIB in Conversation. I'm Don Ward, and it's goodbye for now from CIB. Thank you.